invested into it. We're waiting for other investments to go through. We're just tallying up the votes from the community since we are community driven. And we are also, as you mentioned, yes, the floor price has gone up incredibly. Since we found more solutions to the problems of infinite compounding, we were basically the NFTs that people minted before they became even more valuable now, since it's going to help you a lot to help you to compound when we release. We've just been working, finding new solutions, just trying to develop new ways of create more token utility. We're working on our marketplace right now, which will release probably next week. The Valley token is almost fully developed. We're going to send it to Certic now. That should come in an announcement very soon. But we've just been keeping busy, trying to see what we can do to keep increasing the token utility, finding more problems, finding more solutions, and just completely working through everything just to make sure that we can have like the strongest launch possible when the time comes.
And just to comment on that, I think it's great that you've done the start how you have. We've managed to generate the funds, and then you can do the audits and things like that, because I'm finding with a lot of projects, they like to launch first and then do the audits. So I think that's really good that you can do that.
Sorry. Yeah, just to touch upon that really quickly. Yeah, we wanted to be, we wanted to have the project as secure as possible. I know like an audit is not 100% like security, but it closes a lot of loops that you might not see as when you develop the project. So we wanted to make sure that we have the audit, that we're doxed, that we're KYC. So we did KYC with Assure, and we're doing the audits with Certic just to ensure that everything in the community and everything in the back end, it's pretty good and people believe in us and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you have a good concept, and it will be interesting to see how it goes. As I said, if anything, to judge your success off from the NFT secondary market that's already going, I think that Valifi has a very bright future. And that was the reason why we jumped in the first place. So when you're talking about sustainability, how do you see that you could be more sustainable, just for people who aren't familiar with it?
Yeah, so one of the first things we saw with sustainability was the issue of like high rewards paid out daily. I don't know if you guys like are familiar on how, I'm pretty sure you guys know how nodes and DAS protocols work. So if you pay out a lot early, if you pay out a lot daily, then you basically become like extremely unsuccessful, unsustainable too, because you see how other protocols even have to lower their rewards now, and that makes the investors really mad. So one of the things we wanted to do as Valifi and from the very beginning was, promise give rewards that are sustainable, that we believe that are realistic. Obviously it's a marketing scheme when you start saying like, oh, I pay out this much per day, but you need to bring it down and say, hey, is this really sustainable? So that was the first thing. We lower rewards to 0.1 Valley per day per yield box. We don't call them nodes because nodes validate things on the blockchain and we're not validating anything. Basically a yield box is just a box that makes you yield passive income basically. The next thing we saw the back end on how DAS protocols work, how they took payment for their nodes / yield boxes. And we noticed that there was a big issue on the fact that when you are trying to create a DAS protocol and you have a big treasury, most of the treasuries out there are built in their own token. So X project has their treasury in X coin, right? It doesn't have it in stable. So what happens is the treasury would have to dump those tokens into the market to just be able to transform it into the blockchain's coin to be able to invest it, right? So if we had a normal, like you buy your yield boxes with 10 Valley tokens, we would have to dump a bunch of that Valley onto the market to be able to just invest into like another protocol to generate the income that we need to make it sustainable. So with that in mind, we said, hey, let's design this new engine that will completely revolutionize DAS, and we now take payment for the yield boxes, half in Valley and half in stablecoin. So that allows the treasury to be 100% investable from the very start. So there's no need to dump Valley tokens into the market.
Yeah, I've seen that in a few projects coming through now. I always ask the question, you talk about building a treasury and the cost of the NFT or the node or whatever generates the yield, and then you find that they have to sell the native token to be able to invest in treasury. No one really talks about that a lot of the time, you know.
Yeah, and we think that's a big problem with DAS protocols as a whole. You know, like you basically have your whole treasury. Yeah, you have millions of dollars, but there are millions of dollars in your own coin, so they're really just worthless. You can't do anything with it unless you dump it. So we really wanted to take that away from the equation and make it, you know, the least sell pressure on the value itself, to ensure that we have a good and stable price. So that's why we remove that out of the equation, which means we also get the liquidity pair, you know, it's going to be stable and value. We also get it, and you don't have to create more selling pressure to actually provide liquidity. So we're doing different things to mitigate the selling pressure on the value token itself.
That all looks very promising as well. The other question about sustainability, when we talk about, I've seen the question recurring a few times in the Discord. With the legendary NFTs, you can mint 10 yield box on launches, but what happens if every legendary NFT mints 10 yield boxes from the beginning? And how do you think that that's sustainable for the rewards as well?
Well, yeah, when you mint, when you create your yield boxes from the very start, we are adding, obviously, there's going to be tokens in the reward pool that are being added from your purchase of your yield box. So that helps. And then we can use the treasury to cover the rest, since the treasury will be invested. You know, that's basically, it's a whole game of, like, you have to balance the money coming in versus the treasury invested, plus the vesting that you might have on the token. So it all plays together to make sure that you're sustainable. You know, it's not just money in, money out. It's not as simple as that. There's many other factors into the whole sustainability equation that we have to take into consideration and manage correctly. You know, like, you can even, like, talk about how many yield keys will you be releasing per quarter, and that will all come from how the protocol is performing. You know, at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you can sustain the nodes or the yield boxes that you have to be able to expand, right? So at the end of the day, you're always going to be sustainable at a certain price. And the goal of this is to keep increasing that price, since you are paying in value. So it doesn't really matter how much your treasury makes, it's how much you're paying out on the value token itself, like how much it's worth. So the goal of Valifi is to keep increasing that sustainable price higher and higher and higher and higher, till we get to a point that we can sustain a price of like $500 and be 100% sustainable from what the treasury is making. So that's the thing. It's all about growing the treasury more and more to be more sustainable.
I created a channel with the questions from the community. I might browse through that now, and maybe later, if we have time, we can get some people from the crowd up. The first question that we've got is, how many more NFTs are planned to mint, and what are the amount of yield boxes perhaps that would max that out?
So there's not going to be any more legendary NFTs. Those are basically locked, and we have the other yield keys that we have are going to be the 4, the 6, and the 8, and those will come at the time of launch, and it just depends on the protocol's health. You know, see quarterly or monthly, just to analyze how the protocol is doing and whether we need more or whether we can sustain more people coming in or not. So, but for the legendary keys, there's only going to be 5,000 in the whole world, and there's not going to be any more, basically.
Okay, next question. Anchor pays 20% APY, Strong at 1% a day with reduced rewards planning in the future. Your current entry on Strong is down 50%. What other investment sectors, utility do you plan to do that can sustain 1% value a day?
Yeah, so we're asking the community. Again, we're community driven, so the community has basically a lot of say on what we invest in. So the community has submitted some of those, and we'll be looking into the projects and just making a vote, and then we can invest into them. Again, it doesn't come down to 1% per day, because it depends on the price of the value itself. That's what really matters.
In addition to
Yeah, I'd
that,
agree with that.
in addition to that, we also are
Yeah.
coming up with a bunch of other revenue sources that we might be able to elaborate on. For example, we have a price prediction game that should be able to drive a significant amount of revenue to the treasury. We also have other things like the lottery as well. Just a couple other like little cool games that the community will be able to have. That's also going to be driving more money to the treasury. In addition to that, in the future, we are looking towards a bunch of other revenue sources that we've been talking about. So what I'm trying to say is it's not only just other crypto passive income producing projects that we are voting for, but we're also in the actual Valifi ecosystem. We are coming up with our own little games that's also going to be benefiting the treasury.
Yeah, and not only
the token utility, right?
yeah, that's what it all comes down to. So you need to increase token utility. You need to make sure that the Valley token is not a you earn it, you dump it type of thing. So there's a lot of different things we're working on besides only the treasury. Obviously, it's very important, but we believe that with everything like in an ecosystem that can provide like staking, different types of games, different types of things to generate more money for the treasury. That's how we solve this issue with sustainability instead of just thinking, oh, I have to make 1% per day, because it's not as black and white as I was mentioning before.
Yeah, the more utility for the token there is, the more buyer pressure, the higher the price can stay. It seems to be a recurring issue with a lot of projects because they launch without much utility for their token. How long would you say before the items that you develop would be launched?
Yeah, we're looking to like release as much as we can as early as possible. So like our dev team is working really hard just to like get everything as much as we can closer to launch, but we'll keep like releasing new things over and over again over the months, obviously. So that's just how we're looking at it right now, and just trying to make sure everything's as tight as possible towards the beginning so that more people have more things to do with the Valley token instead of just dumping it, you know?
So for example, just to continue off of what Ed was saying, is like the first couple of things that we're getting done is like the marketplace. A lot of people are trading on like Tofu or NFT Trader. We're looking to localize our trades of our NFTs, our yield keys, specifically to our ecosystem so that our treasury can benefit off of it. So the first thing on the roadmap kind of is to get that marketplace done. Hopefully within the next week, we should be everything all ironed out. After that, we are also working on the price prediction game, like I was talking about before, and a couple other games to be released. Our actual token will be released pretty soon as well. And then we are looking at kind of like late March or maybe mid-March for everything to kind of be released. Is that right, Geek?
April,
my apologies. So yeah, April for everything to be kind of finalized.
Just to touch back onto that question as well, when people talk about Strong and its credibility as an investment, you need to understand that they're the longest players in the game with the most proven form of sustainability. Although I feel like they're at a tipping point now where they've got too many nodes. If any of these projects could develop a chain, Strong is up there. And that's purely for the fact that they have the biggest treasury and they make millions each month in service fees. So as far as Strong being down 50%, I don't think that that's really reflective of the capability that they have, because they've got a good team and they've got a big treasury. But I think the one thing that they're lacking is their timeframes. They're just very slow to develop, which I think that now that they will have to counter, because for them to be competitive in the market, they're going to have to do something better.
See,
so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Going off of what you said with Strong, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Strong. The cash flow it generated for me saved a couple of my businesses. So I'm trying to say I love Strong. But the thing with Strong, with what you said, is that, like you said, they have a lot of nodes and they're running into this kind of compounding issue where, because they have so many nodes, they have to put out so many rewards. And that's kind of what people are starting to realize right now. With what Ed said and what we've already solved, that compounding issue with our yield keys, we're looking to, before we even start, we're looking to avoid that entire issue by being able to regulate the amount of nodes based upon how many yield keys are available.
That's a good way way to offset the
Yeah.
inevitable
There's
spiral.
Yeah, sorry. There's also another thing about yield keys is that it actually like allows the protocol to control how many active yield boxes have to be paid. You know, at the end of the day, you can buy your yield key, you can create your yield boxes, and then you're like, hey, I can flip this key for a lot of profit. I'm gonna flip it. You know, I'll get it back later, and then your yield boxes go into a pause state, right? They're not making any income, but you just made a lot of money flipping your key. And then someone else can go and buy and generate their yield keys, their yield boxes. So at the end of the day, we can have unlimited amounts of yield boxes in the ecosystem, but only have to pay out a certain amount. And that's what makes it like truly sustainable.
Yeah, I think that's a great concept.
Very well said. I like that.
Next question. As a legendary NFT holder who's short on liquidity, what is the window for purchase in USDC going to look like? A day, a week? They're hoping to be able to save up for it instead of having to do it over a shorter time frame.
Yeah, so we released the NFTs, the legendary keys, about beginning of February, I think so. Yeah. So it's going to be 2 weeks prior to launch. So you're going to have 2 whole weeks to purchase the yield boxes connected to your legendary key.
Oh, that's great. That's more than I thought it would be.
Yeah, because you know those people like believed in us from the very start. So we want to like give them enough time to create their yield boxes without being like rushed or like in a day or two. You know, we want to give them ample time. The launch pad will be there so you can connect your wallet and then it'll load up your NFTs that you have, and you can just purchase as much as you want.
Cool. There's a question here. I'm not sure if it's really reflective because I'd imagine you guys will keep grinding, but as a dev team, what is the milestone that you would reach with this project where you can lean back, pop a cold one and say, I built that? Whereas I think you guys would just keep working on the treasury and developing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. And we're going to be I mean, all of us are entrepreneurs, so we are never really satisfied with just having this one thing done. But I mean, once we get all the tokenization done, once we get everything kind of set up so everybody trading the yield boxes, we're all kind of planning on meeting up and actually like Florida or something like that, and having like you said, enjoying a nice cold one, you know.
That'd be great.
But we gotta make sure everything's like
obviously
100%.
everything sustained first.
You'll all be there with a laptop.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you know, we want to create a project that lasts like at least 10 years, you know, something that's truly long term. And I think that's what we're setting ourselves for, you know. So, you know, we're gonna lean back. At the end of the day, it's not about the money. That's what we talked about from the very beginning. For us, it's not about the money. It's about creating something that's good for the people and something that people can rely on. And that will make us feel better. You know, for me, it's like if I get recognized in public and someone's like, hey, you developed Valifi, like I live good because of you, you know, I have a passive income and shit. I'll be like, oh my God, like that would make me feel better than the money I can earn with Valifi, you know.
Yeah, I can only imagine how that would feel. I hope to be one of those people who says that to you one day.
I hope so. I hope so too.
I'd rather see the growth of the protocol as a result of the hard work that we're doing more than the hype that is going to be put in the beginning, right? Like I'd rather grow slowly and sustainably than a huge hype and then a big dump at the end, right?
Yeah, that's why we have the yield keys. That's why it's going to be very controlled growth, which will allow us to be like more sustainable over the long term.
That's the objective.
Yeah, there's a few features about this that are very appealing. As you said, like the legendary yield box, the legendary keys and what have you. It's a very interesting concept, and I was sold on it the first time I saw the white paper in the mediums. On the next question, it's a long one. I understand the plan to use a limited supply of yield keys to control limit compounding, as so many node projects encourage compounding so that the emissions run away. Then they have to drastically cut or reduce rewards very quickly. Compounding builds up emissions in the future and therefore bigger sell-offs down the line. However, I have seen it mentioned many times in the Valifi Discord that some potential investors may be put off having to buy a yield key before they can buy yield boxes. and I see it as a barrier to entry. How do we best persuade people in this how do we best persuade people this is a really good thing? I'm 100% sold on this.
Yeah, I understand that, and it is a higher barrier to entry, but on the same side, like on the other side of the token, like you're creating something that will that will have the possibility to last a lot longer than if you didn't, because you don't want, at the end of the day, we want to build a sustainable protocol. That's the goal, right? But if you keep having to pay out more rewards per day because it just keeps increasing, there will come a time where that will end. Well, you won't be able to ever be sustainable, 100% sustainable. So with this limiting growth factor, or like controlled growth, we can really focus on making the protocol sustainable for the amount of yield boxes, active yield boxes we have at this moment. And we can choose to be like, okay, you know what, we can increase it, we can keep making more, or hey, our treasury is making so much more money, we can actually onboard more people into the system. And I think that's the best way to put it, right? We're controlling the entry and controlling how much we grow, so that we can, the more factors you control about an ecosystem, the better outcome you will have, right? Because you're controlling more.
I'd just like to tie some of the dots together on this. We're talking about utility for the token. You need to have a yield key to generate the yield boxes. Would you, on your secondary market, be buying these NFTs with the native token of Vali?
No. So our marketplace and the way we're gonna launch these yield keys, they're gonna be, we haven't really decided yet, because we don't know if we want to have the people buy Vali and then the stablecoin and pay with both, similar to what you do with the yield box, or do we want to just take the whole payment into stablecoin, put it in the treasury, and the treasury buys Vali itself. So that's something we're still looking into, like for the tokenomic side and everything. But that whole money that is generated from yield keys, that whole money that is generated from trading on the marketplace, that's all going to go to the treasury to be able to invest it, right? So it's all in stable coins, so we can just invest it. If we charge in Vali, then we would have to sell that to invest. So it becomes another selling pressure that we don't want.
Yeah, that's a good point. After I said that, I realized if they were to do a transaction and buy and sell with Vali, then the person who sold would have Vali. So I guess that leaves it.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, like we want the treasury to have as much stable and as much money to be able to do buybacks, like very large buybacks, and just be able to purchase. So that's why we think like, hey, by having it stable from the very beginning, it's better than us charging Vali and having the people to needing to buy it. Obviously for minting might be different, but for the secondary market and our marketplaces, they're going to be either NAVAX or in stablecoin, most likely stablecoin.
I'm just reading this next question, but some of these are very good and they're a bit long, so I'm just trying to make sure that we haven't doubled up and asking the same question twice. Yeah, there's an ongoing theme. 50K nodes on pre-sale before NFTs are executed, and how they combat the immense sell pressure from day one. I think that that's not nearly as bad as what you might assume, because you're not buying the tokens, you're buying the yield boxes, so that the yield on them is still always going to be at a certain percent, and you're going to have the maximum amount in your treasury already. I don't think that's really an issue until further down the line. And as you said, you need the yield keys to be able to generate yield boxes, so there's always going to be a cap supply of yield boxes in relation to the amount of circulating NFTs.
There's going to be a cap supply on the amount of active yield boxes compared to the amount of yield boxes on the protocol. That's the difference.
Yeah, I can see that being positive for price sentiment, where if people want to exit, they can exit without just continuously selling rewards. They just sell the NFT.
Yeah, they'll just sell the yield key and they can get out if they don't believe in the project anymore, or they have they want to take their money elsewhere. So that's, it's not like you can sell your yield box and you get your whole money back, because that doesn't benefit the ecosystem. But you have this new way of, I guess, business, a new business opportunity for people who want to, buy yield keys, flip them and stuff like that. So we're just creating different ways that people can make money off Valifi, and this is one of them, I guess.
There's in there's conflicting information in the white paper. I believe you guys changed from being able to generate the tokens with the NFTs, but now you have to mint the yield boxes. So there's a question here saying that the information is contradictory. But that's what happened, right? You guys were originally going to give the tokens out with the NFT or NFT, and now you have to mint the yield boxes. Is that right?
Yeah, so one of the issues was that we were looking into like we're experimenting with a new taxing system that no other protocol has, and I wish I could tell you more about it, but it's basically going to punish people who try to trade our coin, like pumps and dumps, whales, and bots. They're really going to get destroyed. So we thought to ourselves, like, why even sell the tokens if you can get punished? Obviously, all the money you make off Valifi, off your yield boxes and all that, that's one difference we have from other protocols. We won't charge you any sales tax, any claiming tax, or anything like that. But the people who try to take advantage of the Valley token and the price and pump and dumps, they will be taxed heavily. We have made some changes recently, and we haven't truly announced it yet, but we will have a very, very small allocation of tokens for people who want to long-term hold. So you can buy those tokens, and you can keep them for a really long time, and you won't be subject to tax. But we will, with the legendary keys, you will be able to buy, but it's a very small allocation, so not that much. This is all before launching. So you're going to be able to pre-purchase or reserve your Valley tokens, but it's going to be a very small amount compared to the amount of legendary keys out there.
Okay, the next one's a three-part question, and they might kind of cross over questions that we've asked. But the question is, with the minting of the yield keys being once a quarter, it is my understanding that once people are unable to compound anymore, they will have two options: to either sell the Valley until they can compound more, or keep and use their Valley until the planned utility. My three questions are: how many yield key mints will be available each quarter, and how fast are you predicting that they will be sold out?
Well, we can't give you a number on that right now, because that all depends on the protocol health, right? Depending on how the protocol is doing, we have algorithms, and we're going to have simulations and stuff to be able to say how many yield keys will be released. It's not going to be like us waking up one day and be like, oh, we should release this many. That's not how it's going to happen. It's going to be like a controlled oversee of the whole protocol, and making sure that we can sustain the amount of new yield boxes that we will get created from selling this yield keys. And yeah, what was the second question? Sorry.
That was just the first one. The second question: are you able to name any additional utility for Valley that is not mentioned on the white paper or is under wraps for now?
That is in the works, and I cannot talk any further from that.
Yeah, I would have imagined so. And the third question: how will you prevent initial selling dumping until the additional planned utility is implemented?
Well, yeah, we're trying to create as much utility from the very beginning, and you're going to be able to compound. So it just, if you have the yield keys, you can compound, but we also want people to, be able to take money out and have actual income from Valifi. So that's something.
Yep. How does the team suspect they will achieve new buyers if the node limit is determined by NF keys? Once the keys are dried up, the buying of value will greatly reduce. The price will taper off quite quickly, and there is no new blood into the system.
Well, yeah, that depends on the amount of yield keys that are released, and that's something that it's going to be worked on to ensure that stuff like that doesn't happen. Also, plus all the utility and different ways we're going to have so that people can actually use the Valley token not only to create yield boxes and make money. There's going to be staking and other things that will allow you to make money and keep pushing the buying pressure of Valley. At the end of the day, all the things we have proposed in the white paper, we're a very adaptable team, and we see that, you know, we're creating something new, and they might come, some challenges might come in the future with creating something new because no one has tested it before, but we are ready to adapt, and we already are thinking of problems that we might have that we can implement X solution, you know, so we're already thinking ahead of all the issues and stuff like that, that we might run into. Obviously, we don't know if we're going to run into them, but just our thinkings, and our ideas that we're having. So we're looking to adapt and to keep pushing Valley to a new level. But we will for sure be adapting and changing things as things come, if it's necessary for the ecosystem to keep going up.
There's an excerpt from a Medium or a wider article that you guys have where it says no new Valley tokens will be minted or sold if the price of Valley token is considered low or downtrend. The question is, how will this be determined? Do you have an algorithm in the contract?
For that, we're working on with tokenomics experts and simulations to be able to say a price. Obviously, I cannot tell you a price, what's low, considered low, because people would just take advantage of it. So, and that's one thing that happened to another protocol. So we can't really release the information on what is considered low and when the Treasury will buy back and stuff like that. I don't think we're gonna have the minting anymore. That's something we're getting rid of. But yeah.
So it will be fixed supply that won't be minting, or incremental, or
Yeah, so we used to have this system where the price of value was very high. Obviously that creates another barrier of entry. So we were thinking like, oh, maybe we can mint some tokens into the Treasury, and the Treasury can sell them for profit, you know, bringing back and stabilizing the price of value. But I don't think we're gonna have that anymore. We're still looking into it.
Yeah, there's a question here. One major source of problem in DeFi is smart contract vulnerability, which has led to loss of funds. What steps have Valley taken to fix this major problem and avoid future occurrences?
Yeah, we are, you know, we're locking our liquidity. Our liquidity is going to be locked, so that no one can really have access to it, not even us. We're taking, like, security is our utmost importance at this moment, and our dev team is really working, and we're going to have multiple audits of the contracts to ensure. And we're also using, you know, multi-sig wallets just to make sure that no one can take the money out. So there's, security is a big thing about, it's a big thing that we're looking into and that we want to ensure, because we cannot afford, like, I think no protocol can truly afford to be like robbed, or hacked. So we're working on security. We're going to have a security team on the, like, every month they're hired, and they're going to be watching and monitoring the whole ecosystem as a whole, and making sure that the transactions, you know, nothing funny is going on from anyone.
All right. The questions left in the AMA seem to be kind of crossing over into each other, so we might bring people up from the crowd, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Anyone in the audience, if you'd like to ask a question, just raise your hand and we'll get you up onto the stage.
Hello.
Hello, Lucky.
How are
Good. How are you?
Very good. I have one quick question. I have obviously a few NFTs, and I just want to know, can I compound to 12 or 13? Because I know without a key from photos, you can have one yield box without an NFT. Is that correct?
Yeah. So each wallet in the beginning, but this is something we're still looking into. But we believe you will be able to get that extra one from just your wallet. You know, it comes with one space available from the very beginning.
Cool. That is all I have to say. And you're doing a very good job. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being an NFT holder.
Any other questions from the crowd? I think we've answered most of them. There you go. We've got Queen coming up.
Yeah. Sorry. Go Blaze. Go Blaze.
Yeah, I just want, while we're waiting, I guess, I just want to announce that we actually are doing a little yield key giveaway on our Twitter. So if anybody here is interested in, maybe you don't have enough money to get one, and you're actually, or maybe you missed the mint, if you guys are interested in getting a free NFT, check out our Twitter because you might be able to win. Maybe it's your lucky day.
Yeah, we plan on doing some more giveaways with Valifi as well, but currently you guys have offered up a NFT as well for this AMA for the best question, which we'll figure out after the fact.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we were discussing whoever has the best question and also is in our Discord and maybe is following our Twitter should be able to get one. I think that'd be really cool. So there's kind of like 2 giveaways going on right now, one for our Twitter and one for Only Up Capital. So you guys have some good chances to win one. And right now the price is only going up on those. And especially when our marketplace comes out. Ooh.
Yeah, I think the marketplace is really the key to success for a lot of these projects. If you can have easily accessible platform where you can buy and sell, and plus revenues go back to the protocol, it all makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's gonna help the Treasury out a whole lot.
Good morning, Queen. How are you?
Hey, Crypto Queen, I think your mic might be off, or maybe got to replug in your mic or something.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
That's all right. While we're waiting, I've got Echo up here.
Oh, Echo. I know Echo.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Excellent.
Hey man, welcome.
So thanks for having me up here. I have just a quick question regarding this NFTs. The yield keys, which we're able to mint. Do you know already how much will be the price for minting one of these additional yield keys?
Yes, it's going to be $250.
All right. Well, that's it for my side.
The distribution between Valley and stable, or whether it's going to be all in Valley, that information will come later. But it's going to be $250.
All right. Great. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, man.
Have a nice one, man.
Thank you. Crypto Queen?
I don't think your mic's working yet.
Thank you.
Crypto Queen, try going out and coming back in. I remember that was a problem in our AMA and our Discord. Maybe if you hop back out and hop back in, it might fix it. I don't know.
All right, while we're waiting, let's go 2022.
Welcome back. Let's go.
Can you hear me?
What's shaking?
Did you hear me that time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a
Sorry,
Crypto
yeah.
Queen go first then.
So we'll just finish off Let's Go first, and then we'll
Okay.
come back to Crypto Queen.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, no problem. Just so quick. By the way, first, don't you know, I like the idea of no more minting. That sounds great to me. I'm all about bringing that value up anyway, so I'm all about it. I also like the idea that you guys brought up about, using stables, for the yield keys, because, that way it's just more stable coins going into the treasury. So all of that sounds great. My question is related now to the yield keys themselves. I know that we're planning, from what I'm reading here and there, they're planning to launch, maybe at the beginning of April. So what's the schedule going to be looking like for the actual minting of those yield keys? I'm a long-term dude anyway, so I'm not trying to get the money out right away. I'd rather build, as many yield boxes as possible. So this is why I asked, so I could sort of get an idea and run my numbers on my end.
Yeah. So on launch, we're going to have some mintings for the yield keys, and then it'll come like every 2 to 3 months, new minting.
All right, man. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one, and TGIF. All right. All right.
Oh,
Thank you, man.
really quick, let's go. We're actually, because I know you're running some numbers over here. We're actually working on an Excel sheet, kind of like a calculator that will be able to help you track your progress and really understand how much you're making and how much it's going to cost you to kind of get into Valifi. So we're working on that. Just give us a couple of weeks. We're trying to iron out everything. We should be able to release on the Discord soon.
Oh, worries. No, thank you guys for that too. All right, guys. Have a good one. Thanks.
See you later, man. Thanks for being supportive. Appreciate you.
All the things.
Thank you.
Crypto Queen.
Yes.
Yay, finally. Well, I had two questions. The first one was when marketplace. I'm not sure if you covered that earlier because I didn't catch the start of the AMA.
Yes, so we're finishing the final bugs. We already did some testing with our moderators on our Discord. So we're thinking next week.
Ooh, that's amazing. And the second one is that just during the AMA there, you said that you're all entrepreneurs. And knowing a few entrepreneurs personally, I know how much there's always that drive and thirst for new projects and new things to get your teeth into. And I was just wondering that for the investor point of view, down the line, what do you think is going to keep you excited in this project and keep you focused, especially if things are going maybe, goodness forbid, not to plan? Like I have a few NFTs I'm all ready for launch. I'm very excited for it. But if it doesn't, fill the hype as quickly as much as is hoped it would, what is your, focus to just keep everything onto the project?
Yeah, even though we're entrepreneurs, we're devoting a lot of our day to Valify, and we're very committed to this project. That's something we made sure that this team was 100% committed to it for the long term, even when things are not going very nicely. We have had team members drop from our team, and they're no longer in the team because they couldn't handle the meetings and everything. So I'm very confident about this team, and I think we'll all be here for a very long time. Again, this project is our baby. Like, we're trying to make this as best as possible. And it's just part of being an entrepreneur. When things don't go your way, you have to find new solutions and adapt and make sure that things are going the right way. So that's one thing that this team has very clear. And at the end of the day, we're all devoting a lot of our time and life into Valify, and that's all we think about. It's kind of like crack or cocaine or something like that. It's so addicting, and we just can't stop thinking about it. Even when we're not in the office or like just in our meetings, we're always thinking messaging. So I think this team is very dedicated to Valify.
You must be so buzzed. Okay, thanks for that. Good luck to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Just to touch on that, I can understand the feeling of obsession because I'm quite enthusiastic and passionate about what I do, and then building this community for the community and doing everything that I could to bring value to the community for free. I can definitely understand where you're coming from to be passionate about it. The reward in itself is the success of the project, or for me, the community, and the reach that we can get and the people we can have. So
exactly. Yeah. Again, it goes back to what I said about, like helping people, and it's not about the money at the end of the day. It's more about what we're building and, being able to provide something good to DeFi and make sure that people can trust in DeFi, because at the end of the day, if you do a good project and people start listening, there's a higher chance they get into crypto just for your project. And that would be amazing if Valify is able to accomplish that, because at the end of the day, it makes everyone richer, it brings more money into crypto as a whole.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. For me, I've been most successful when I've tried to help others. I think that just comes hand in hand. It's probably karma, probably the best way to say it. If you help others, then it tends to come back around. The universe provides it for you. So I think if you've got good intentions with what you're doing, it's very easy, and people can see that. And I think that instills a lot of trust and faith in the project itself when they know that you're doing everything reasonably possible to help the community. Yes,
that's something we have made very clear to our community. We will do everything possible to make sure that this succeeds.
How many people are in the team? You mentioned some people dropped, but you've got an extensive team already and you haven't launched. So how many do you have?
Just the core team alone is us 6,
That in itself is
we used to have like 3 more in our core team, but some of them couldn't handle it. They demoted and they just didn't show up anymore. So from the very start, it was like, we want to make sure we have the strongest team. And some people weren't comfortable doxing and stuff like that, but we said, hey, we're all about transparency. We're all about, staying true to ourselves. And if you can't commit to doxing yourself, with a sure DeFi or social doxing, which is what we have on our Discord, then I don't think you're a right fit for this team.
Yeah, no disrespect to anyone who wants to remain anonymous, but I think if you have nothing to hide, then it's not a big issue.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's no disrespect. Like at the end of the day, it's your decision. If you don't feel comfortable being out there, like your face being out there, or your socials, or your ID being held by someone else, that's completely fine. We just believe in transparency, and we want to make sure that the team like follows that core vision of Valify.
All right, Titan Fox, you're up next.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Fantastic. So I've got a question. I want to confirm something and then see what I think about your project here. Firstly, the question. So in the Medium article that you released, the Treasury, it looks like there's ETH, BSC, and then AVAX. Are those going to be investments that go into, say, validator nodes? Are they going to be investment protocols on those networks? Is that an exhaustive list? Are you going to be going into, say, Polygon or AlphaZero, some of the other the networks that are out there?
Yeah. So we have different treasuries in different things. Like, for example, if we want to invest into Strong, we know we need Ethereum. So that's why we created different treasuries in different networks. And we'll be funding those as time goes by. We started with AVAX, that's where the main project will be. But we're hoping to bridge it over to other networks. And of course, if investment opportunities come up in other platforms, like in other networks like Polygon and stuff, and the community wants it, then we will create the treasury there and just invest in those.
Okay, fantastic. I like to hear that's community driven. Now for my confirmation point, I heard that it's going to be mid to late April is when the token itself will launch. There will be a 2-week window prior to that we can purchase our yield boxes. Is it safe to assume then that once we're able to purchase our yield boxes, the token launch is within 2 weeks from that point?
I wouldn't give you an exact day, but we're just planning on Q2. But yes, so the token launch and the DApp and everything will launch one day, and then 2 weeks prior to that, you will have the 2 weeks to purchase your yield boxes and stuff like that. And then there'll be the event of the launch where we launch the DApp, the token, and everything public, you know?
Perfect. I appreciate you confirming that. Last point here, I cannot express to you guys how excited I am about this. Every AMA I've been on with you, like I get a giant rush of adrenaline. I've got my 5 yield keys ready to go. This project is going, in my opinion, this project is going to be kind of the new bar. You guys are doing a phenomenal job in regard to information to the community and just longevity looking. So really, really, really appreciate you guys. I'm super, super excited for this launch.
Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate the support.
Thank you so much for those words. It really means a lot. And I was going to ask you if you're the person that is in our AMAs, because I remember your little image, but I didn't know if you were from Only Up or from our AMAs.
No, it's from I follow you guys around. I'm very, very, very conservative with what I put larger amounts of money into, and what my large is versus what somebody else large is. It's all subjective, but I'm very picky, and you guys, you've hit this out of the park. The ideas, the concepts, the team, everything about this project, I can't express how bullish I am on it.
Thank you, man.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I see a lot of potential in this. It was a very easy decision when I found the white paper to offer it to the community to review.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Mindset, you're up.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for doing the MA. Thank you, Only Up, for getting the opportunity for the community. For the Valify guys, I guess, and you guys were almost just touching upon it too. To me, when I first kind of stumbled onto the Valify Discord, it was when the Ring Relief Fund was still going on. And I know a lot of expats from another project ended up in Only Up's Discord. So there was kind of some kismet there that like we both came from these different communities that felt a little disappointed with their previous investment. So right then and there you had my interest. And as I kind of looked into more of what you were doing, I definitely got my NFT. So I'm happy to say that I'm ready to go there. It might have been covered earlier in in the AMA? Because I know I asked my question early in the question row. Since I have my yield boxes, I have my key. I'm just wondering what the time frame to purchase the yield boxes is. It sounds like about 2 weeks or so to make sure I get all the funds in. Kind of like Tom just said, you know, I'm picky and make sure that I have the funds and everything ready to go so that I can get the most out of the project.
Yes, so it will be 2 weeks prior to launch. And you don't worry, like we will make ample announcements so people know when it's time. Like we're not gonna be sneaky about it.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for believing in us, man. It really means a lot.
Yeah, just to touch on that, we're officially rugged, but you could say that we were definitely manipulated in a previous experience. So we can all relate to how it feels to feel or actually be taken advantage of by a project. So it's refreshing to know that you can level with us and understand what it feels like, because then it helps to build more, you know, more faith in the project, knowing that we're on a similar page.
Yeah, I mean, we were also in that project, so we got rugged too. So we know the feeling. Yeah, we were actually in it, and thanks to that rugging and whatever happened in that project, you know, Valifi became real thanks to that. So it's bittersweet, but it worked out for the best, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have done this community, and I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I had. And personally, I probably wouldn't have been as profitable as I have been, because since we have done this, the projects that we're reaching out to are of a certain caliber, and hands down, you're one of the most exciting ones that I've found. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I have a few of the NFTs, and I will be yield boxing all of them. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I think there's going to be a lot of price pressure on it, but I have a question as well. How do you plan with your marketing that you can generate more hype after the launch? Because currently there's a lot of exclusivity on the legendary keys, and that's why the price floor is so high. But what happens after?
Yeah, so we're allocating a lot of the treasury from the earnings to marketing. We want to keep pushing marketing. At the end of the day, we don't want to be seen as a Ponzi scheme, but just driving and getting people more interested into Valifi will drive the price of the yield keys higher. So your investment from being here early will be paid off very easily.
Monster.
We keep reaching out to like really good influencers, and even influencers are now starting to reach out to us to do collabs, to do, you know, AMAs, and for them to make videos on us. So we just want to make sure that people know what Valifi is and what we're offering and how we're different from other projects. So that, I guess that's our marketing strategy going forward.
Yeah, but definitely part of Only Up Capital, the package, unofficial package that we provide. We have a lot of content and hype videos and what have you. So I'm looking forward to see the Valifi one, because you guys have a great theme. And I've got a very creative person who makes all these videos for me. Starmons.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm in that project too, by the way.
So I just had a question. About I guess that 2 week period that the NFT holders can make their yield boxes. So
Yes.
So I know, like, per NFT you can create 10 yield boxes, but say for example, like an NFT holder only like makes, say, like 5 within that first 2 week period, would we still be charged at the, you know, like the pre-sale, I guess the pre-sale launch price if we buy after the 2 week period, or is it only during that 2 week period?
Yeah, so it's only going to be during that 2 week period where you get this special rate. Obviously, if you cannot fill them in, if you have extras, you can sell them. But if you can fill them in, that just gives you more space to compound, you know, at the end of the day.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, well, that was my only question. I'm gonna listen to this AMA, and then after we're done, I'm gonna hit the beach.
Oh yeah, enjoy.
That sounds like a plan. That definitely sounds like a plan.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you. Welcome back up.
Well, I just come up and ask. I did message only up, but it makes it a bit easier for everyone. With compounding, can you compound rewards straight into new yield boxes, or do you have to sell half and then use a stable coin?
You're gonna be able to compound straight into from your rewards that you have earned.
Okay, cool. And once again, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
That's it for about an hour. I think that's a good time to cap it off so we don't take up too much of your time. Are you going to leave us with any sneaky alpha or anything to get excited about?
I really wish we could. We're just gonna we're gonna be we're still hosting the legendary key giveaway for your community and also the one in our Twitter, so you guys can check that out. It's your chance to win one for free.
It was worth a try.
Yeah. Like I wanna say everything we have planned, and I wanna say all the things we're working on, but I just can't. I know I can't.
I think the good thing about the AMAs is you can hear the tone of people's voices. So if I can hear excitement in your voice when you say that you can't tell us, I can understand that we will be excited when you tell us.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us on our Discord. We're very bullish about the project, looking forward to the launch. And other than that, for the members of the community, don't forget the giveaways that both Valifi have and we have at the moment. I encourage you to go across to their Discord, and I'll be personally on the lookout for members of the community who are providing value to the project, and I'll be on the lookout. So we plan on giveaways down the line as well. So the idea is not to just show it, but if you feel enthusiastic about it, if you see something that you like, feel free to post and share. We'll always be watching, and there'll always be incentive for those the members of the community who want to help promote the projects. Other than that, once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting
Thank
us.
you for the invite. Go, Blake, you want to say something?
Oh, I was just saying, thank you for the invite, and we really appreciate your support and everything.
No, I appreciate the fact that you would consider our community for an AMA and that you would be happy to do the giveaway as well. I'm really grateful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. You know, we grow together.
That's it. And I intend on hanging around for a while. So the success of your project is beneficial for me. So continue to work, continue to do the good job. We're all grateful for it. It's refreshing to see a project that wants to be for the community instead of about themselves.
Yeah, thank you.
That has always been our position. We even decided that the team should not get any value tokens in the beginning, unlike other projects. And you know, we're always listening to our community and giving them a voice, because at the end of the day, those are the people that make Valifi happen. So we just need to ensure that they're happy.